It's hot here on south, you know, in Slovenia. So
Okay, well, so let's get started, guys. So first of all, welcome everybody. Great to see so many faces here today. Um, this webinar is new in a series of, I think, 6 that are planned. So every single month on the first Monday of the month, we have this sort of lunchtime short webinar to introduce you to change management and then also to the ProSky way of doing things with the ADKAR model. And explicitly, I think Eric's already said the title, but the title, to be explicit, is everything you always wanted to know about change management in this case, but didn't feel free to ask. So today, I hope we answer some of your questions, but also there will be, like Erik said, a couple of moments where you can really start to ask questions. For the practitioners amongst you, so the ProSky practitioners, we also have webinars for the more experienced. So let us know if you'd like to keep in touch with what we're doing. I'll give you a chance at the end to make contact directly. But for now, I'll hand you over to Erik from the People Side of Change in the Netherlands and to Peter from Change to Value in Slovenia.
Yeah, but maybe Isolde, you're also community manager of the CCB Network. So maybe you would like to introduce that as well, because we got a very international crowd.
Yeah, okay, so a short introduction of CCB Network is basically CCB is a network that covers the whole of Europe. We have 9 partners and they're both primary affiliated ProSky organizations and ATP organizations. PRODA doesn't say too much to you, but it's nice to know we're coming from this perspective of ProSky. We're working together to grow the best practices in Europe around change management. And these webinars form a sort of introductory sort of session where we're trying to get more people into change management and knowing what we're talking about. So for the next ones, it'd be great also if you introduce, think of some people who might like to take part, because we'd love to grow a really big crowd here of people that, simply like to have their questions answered around change management. So for the CCB network, I'm the community manager. So if you send us any emails through the website, then you'll most surely get contact with me. But for now, I'm going to hand you over and I can tell you a little bit more at the end if you've got any specific questions. But we've got a lot of really great activities. There's a lot happening already and also a lot of ways for you guys to get engaged if you would like to do that.
Okay, today's speakers, Peter.
So welcome also from my side. I'm down on the south, as we told before. I'm coming from Slovenia, and Change to Value is actually a company covering this Balkan part. We are a primary affiliate, and of course, we are a ProSky partner. And I'm a certified instructor. And today I'm going together with Erik, go through the most interesting part, probably, especially for the newcomers, ADKAR.
Yeah. So I'm Erik Steketee. I work with the People Side of Change. I'm currently situated in the hills of Amsterdam, and I'm so excited actually to share the ADKAR model with you guys today. So we have some interaction because there's a lot of participants. So if you could download the Poll Everywhere app or connect or use the link, you don't have to create a user account, just join, and this is the link. So let's see, most people probably have downloaded the link. It will be also shown on top, because along the webinar, we will have some questions to share. It might be nice because we got a large international crowd that we actually change some opinions here and there. So let us see where you come from. I think that's the next question. Where do you live?
Oh, you already have some answers.
Yeah. Because typically sometimes the question is shown before, that's why.
Oh, we can also visit us from India, Sandeep. I can see it in chat. Yeah, we didn't cover the whole world, only the Europe part of the world, yeah.
Yeah. So that's also what the Change Competency Builders Network is all about. We want to share best practices, share questions, insights, projects throughout Europe, and build our European standard of change management. I think there's a lot of knowledge and expertise that we can share amongst each other. But what are some of the negative impacts of changes that you've been a part of? We start with a little bit negative and depressing mode, but we will end in a very joyful, happy mode as when you finally master the ADKAR model at the end of the 30 minutes.
You can see some risk assessments. Okay. Leadership. I would say the usual suspects, aren't they, Erik?
Yeah, low engagement, low utilization. And that's actually pointing to a waste of time and money, paying lip service. Yeah, it probably means that the sponsors are on mute, right? What do you think, Peter?
Yeah, I would say the sponsors are usually, or let's say many times, quite a big liability on the project. So probably sponsors, the management part, and we say, so communication from sponsors can be difficult from time to time. Internal capabilities I can see in chat, and information not right for impact. So probably thinking about that impact is quite big and there is not enough information on this impact.
No. Okay, let's move on. So that's all not too well. You know, that's all typical stuff that we can remember. But change management, what is change management all about? Is it about tree hugging or is it key to success? Because sometimes, you know, actually people will tell us, oh, you guys, you're all tree huggers, you know, you're doing the nice things for people. I want to make sure that, and actually Isolde will kick out anyone who actually will select the answer that we are tree huggers. So,
we will hunt you down, you know.
Yeah. We know where to find you guys. Oh,
you see,
Isolde, please check. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay. I'm happy to see it's only a minority. Actually, this is exactly what we are talking about. So this is also the topic we want to cover today. How can we be more successful in driving change, right? And let's start off with a definition. So on a project level, change management is all about the application of a structured process. I hear a lot of words like, I use my intuition a lot. I'm a seasoned change manager. I have insights and knowledge, yes, but that helps if you have a foundation of a structured process. Also, it's measuring where you are. Use tools that are available to you. And we talk about, we want to be successful. If change management is key to success, we need to know the desired business outcomes. We're talking business here. So that's why today we want to share with you, like, okay, how can we, one of the most important tools, I think, is the ADKAR model. So Peter, what is change management on an organizational level about?
So it's all right and cool to have it very well organized at the project level, but basically we have to be aware why we are doing this. So we have to understand that projects usually lead toward a strategy execution. So basically we have to build this capability on a strategic level. So to have a capability designed to increase change capacity and responsiveness on all the projects. And of course, if you want to achieve this, we have to have a strong leadership competency to enable this change within this organization. So basically, like we said, on project level as a single project and on organizational level to support all the projects.
Yeah, so this is also what ProSci sets apart from Mrs. Cotter. Cotter is all about creating a winning coalition, but this is really diving into the organization, make sure that the leadership skills in change management get on a higher level. that the organization is more competent.
You
Peter,
can
I'm
see
bad
here,
at
yeah.
numbers.
Yeah, you can see there are some numbers from ProSci research. So basically, ProSci do this research every 2 years, and they did it 20 times, 22 times, no, 11 times, 22 years, I think. And one of the questions is they try to find the connection between the change management effectiveness and the success on the project. So did you reach the objectives? Did you reach the business value? And we can see there is a huge difference between having between the one who self-evaluate them as they are running the poor change management, and between the one who said they're excellent. So it's even 6 times more possible or more probable to achieve the business success and to exceed the objectives on a project if you're using change management. And one really important thing, even if you just begin, just to start thinking about people and how they actually perceive this change, you can see a 3 times bigger possibility to have a successful project. So it's really important to think on this people part of the project.
So that's why it's clear, it's also proven from this evidence that change management is a key to success. We increase the probability that you actually get the desired business outcome. So we're talking business here, right? And there are all these proverbs like 70% of all projects fail. That's all bull, right? This is what the evidence tells me. It's not only ProSci, but also McKinsey publishes every, I think, 3 or 4 years an article, why CEOs get fired. And it's not because they are bad business managers. No, because they implement change not in a very effective way. They fail to be a sponsor. So let's check with you guys. So do employees need to know the why of a change? What do you guys think? So Peter, why is the why important? What do you think?
Maybe they are really curious as in nature, No, but actually, you have to understand why change, because this is part of first building block of ADKAR. So it builds awareness. If you don't know why to change, if you're not aware why, you don't really have a wish to go out of your comfort zone and on the road toward the change. So that, I think, is the most important why they need to know.
Yeah, exactly. And for people who are still missing the link, it's always on top of the question. You can see that here, right? Yeah, we know from the research of ProSci, but also other studies, but lack of awareness is one of the most important factors in driving resistance. So that's a very good starting point, right? If we talk about change management. We have one more question before we actually dive into the ADKAR model. So what is
a key question, Erik. It's a key question.
Yeah, why?
Yeah, it's really important. If you have a project, and of course you have a delivery in the project, you have to ask yourself, how much of value will we receive if we just deliver the delivery of the project? So basically, if you are just implement a new tool, if nobody uses it correctly, what will this bring to the company, to the organization? So in this way, we can partly measure how important and how big portion of the value lies in people, and how important for us is to work with these people through the change. Yeah. So we can see some really interesting numbers here, Erik.
Yeah.
It's always, it amazes me, because usually they are way above the 50 and no difference here.
And what I like to see is also, this is an excellent question. You can ask your sponsor. So I think it's a very good question. So my dear sponsor, if you want to be supportive of the change, what is the percentage of persons that actually will drive change? How much people do we need to be on board to actually reach the desired business outcomes? And these are high numbers, right? So what I always find intriguing, so if the people dependency of the business outcome is that high, why do we invest so little in the people side of change? Because it's clear that it drives business outcomes. Because, okay, it's clear, right? So let's get you to. So these are some of the conclusions. So lack of awareness, the why of a change, is the #1 reason for resistance. And resistance has sometimes a negative connotation, but I think it's clear, it's protective. You're the same as with COVID, we're lacking resistance, right? So the same is with your brain. As soon as the brain detects a change, then the brain starts defending. It says, hey, why are we changing? That's the first question. So it's a very positive reaction because people start to think about the change. And a lot of the change success is dependent on people actually changing the way of working. So organizational change does not exist. It's individuals that really say, yes, we are on board the bus. We are on your journey. We are changing the way of working. So if individual change is important, then this is the reason why we want to introduce to you guys the ADKAR model. So let's introduce a little bit about ProSci, Peter. What is the numbers here?
So basically, I already started with part of it. So ProSci is the leading organization working on change management. Basically, they start as a research organization. That's where you can see they already see 22 years of research. So they, on every second year, they also publish the results, which are quite interesting, by the way. So 11 studies and over 8,000 participants. Between the 80% of those are from, so basically 80% of Fortune 100 companies are also present in these researches. So we can see their inputs on the researches too. And you were probably asking if it's really important for us to help people go to the change. You probably also ask, but how can we know where the people are standing? Are they opposed? Are they pro? So where's their problem? What activities we should do with them? And here is the magic. We can do this. We can measure the mentality, or let's say measure the path to the change of the people with ADKAR model.
Yeah. So the ADKAR model is basically an individual model. So many people, so different journeys, right? But the ADKAR model really helps us to understand where are people in the change journey. So one of the first phases, one of the first building blocks in any individual change is the why now? People start to think on an organizational level. So why does the company need to change the way of working? Why are we implementing these new processes or these new systems? Why is the change needed now? We got so much stuff to do already. Our plates are completely full. So what is the impact and nature of the change? So this is on an organizational level. And if these business reasons for change are clearly communicated, clearly explained, then people will start to think about, okay, the next phase. And the next phase is, Peter, what is it about?
It's about desire. So even if you do understand why the organization has to change, doesn't mean that you also want to change. So what would you want to hear from your managers? What do you want to know about this change? Of course, what's in it for me or to me many times. So you would like to understand what will change for you personally, what you will have to do differently. And then you will decide, or let's say you will decide, or you will be forced, or you will whatever, but you will be on board or you will not be on board. And this is a decision to be there, to be engaged and to participate to the change. So only then, it's not good enough to know why, because even you might not agree with your why or organizational why. So it's really important that you as a person decide to go along with this change. And why? This is really important because the next building block should rely on this.
And the next building block is knowledge. So this is typically resolved by sending people to training. This is training them. But training will never be successful if people not have fully completed the first two steps. And the first two steps is about awareness and desire. Let's walk you through for an example, for instance, of Microsoft Teams, right? Most of us are using these tools So first, every company, every organization started a digital transformation. And all of a sudden we were like, well, why? I mean, the most positive reason was, oh, Windows 7 is no longer being maintained and supported. That was a bull reason, right? That was not really like why. This is a compelling why. No, it's very negative. It's past oriented. So the future thing is all of a sudden then we had COVID, yeah, and nobody questioned any longer the digital transformation, and then we have to have a clear understanding. How does the change impact me on a personal level? What do I need to change? What is the future state? What do you want me to do differently? And I've seen that especially with the digital transformation, there was never a clear statement. This is what we want you to do differently, right? So if those questions, why are we changing now? What do you want me to do differently, are not answered adequately, right? People will be resistant to change. So there's no point in sending them to knowledge if they still have questions, because at a training session, they will enter the training room, the classroom, and they will start asking these questions. So why are we changing now? Why are we spending like a whole day on the training session? That's all lack of awareness, you know. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the new tool. I'm not sure if I'm going to use the new feature, follow the new process. You know, oh, so these are all desire questions, right? So then most likely the training session will fail. So training can only be implemented correctly and efficiently and effectively. You can train people, but first you need to answer the questions of why are we changing now? What's in it for me? So what do you want you to change, to do differently? And then we can train you and support you with training and knowledge on new process and tools. But we're not there yet, right, Peter?
Yeah, it's quite expensive to do this jump to knowledge, you know, because usually people don't receive all the knowledge needed. So what you have to do is you have to do it later. And why we are doing all this? To gain ability. And many times there is some kind of misunderstanding, because ability is many times mistakenly, you know, taken as the same as a knowledge, but it's not true. A really good case, it's me being a tennis player. You know, I'm a fantastic sofa tennis player, so basically couch tennis player. I really know how to play tennis, but am I able to play tennis? That's the different question. So it's about how good can we use this knowledge, how good can we perform, and this is exactly the point when organization can see and can starting to receive the benefits of the change. So till here, we were just preparing for the change. Here, being able to do it, being able to do whatever it's needed to change successfully, that's where the magic is. That's where the value is.
Yeah. So those 4 stages really need to be followed through, and people need to be supported, and we need to answer their questions. So are we able to? And if we are able to, then we're going to change the way of working. And then it's the final phase of reinforcement, really sustain the change, make the change stick. So is everything in place to really sustain the change and let the change stick and really get the desired business outcomes, because we want to be successful, right? And here is how you can measure ADKAR. So on the left side is, for instance, early scores. So we ask people on a scale from 1 to 5, how well aware are you of the business reasons for change? And if people are not too aware, they might say, well, I'm a 1, I'm a 2, I think maybe a 3. We want to make sure that people really understand the business reasons. Why are we changing? Why are we changing now? So then we ask them on a score, we would like you to help. So what do you need to better understand the business reason? Because it should be close to a 4 and a 5. You need to understand. The next letter, Peter, what is it that about?
Sorry, I missed this one.
The D, what is that about?
D?
Yeah.
So we are talking about ADKAR still?
Yeah. The same webinar, Peter.
I have to admit, I lost you right now.
Okay, so I'll give an explanation. So when we are early in the process on a change journey, we might have low scores on desire. So people are not decided yet. we have not very well explained what's in it for them. They have not reached the decision. So we need to support and answer the questions. So what do you need to really understand and make a decision? What do you need to change? We want to see numbers like a 4 and 5. So before and after change management. So ADKAR really drives change and measure change. We are in the know of what's going on. We also know what challenges are there in the organization. Peter, what is the challenge in the later process at the right-hand side? What do you think is the major challenge here?
Right-hand side, I would say, so we are talking the later then.
Yeah.
I think they quite got it, they know why they have to change, and many of them, they already decide that they will go along with this change and with this new process. And they're receiving quite a lot of knowledge at this moment. Where the problem lies at this moment is they are still not proficient enough. I would say they need a little bit more work on ability and on we have to help them to become proficient. We have to coach them. We have to be there for them, because what will happen if they have some question, is they need some help and we are not there for them? They will do it all the way.
Yeah.
It's always like this. It's easiest.
Yeah. So we can measure with the ADKAR model a lot of the resistance, because we started off and we are closing almost this webinar because it's only a 30-minute appetizer, right? It's only lunch session. So lack of awareness is the #1 reason for resistance. We can measure if there's still lack of awareness or not in the organization using the ADKAR model. Resistance is a natural reaction, and we can measure the level of resistance with the ADKAR model, right? And that's why we need an individual change model to actually measure success in the organization. Final call, Peter.
So ADKAR is really simple model, because many times people just say it's common sense. It is common sense, but it's perfectly built together, and you are always aware where you have to put more effort, where you can to do more activities with the people. And it's actually you can see where people are actually stuck, where they need the help. And it's like we said, if you want to change organization, you need to change people within the organization, because organizations not change. If you change the process, if you change the tool, if you change whatever, nothing will happen if people don't start working differently. And that's the idea behind. We have to help people to go through it. So with ADKAR, you actually have a really, really good tool to support you in these efforts.
And I think also what sets this apart from, for instance, some of you might be familiar with CODR. CODR is really, it's a journey and that you actually structure the process of the senders. With ADKAR model, we check the recipients. Where are the recipients of change? What are their questions, concerns? So it is a way more powerful model because we check the individuals. Guys, did we answer your questions? What type of support do you need? Where are you on your change journey? How can we help you and support you? Because we want to be successful. And business success means like a high number of people are in the future state, right?
Yeah. And this was just appetizer, if you want really to know more, to have a full meal and to have a much more insight on different tools and different techniques, you can join one of our certification programs. You can find either on the individual partner net
so the
pages, web pages, or on the CCB page. And you can also go through, you can see that there are different process training programs, not only certification one. And really important, just follow our webinars, And
on the CCB website, we have the 3-day practitioner program. So you get access to the ProSat portal, you get all the tools, you get all the research. It's an internationally acknowledged practitioner certificate for you guys that are maybe interested in learning more. We have, like, on a monthly basis, the first Monday, we have these luncheon sessions in the same series, everything you always wanted to know about change management, but were afraid to ask. So this was the first one. We shared with you the ADKAR model. And for the real ProSci practitioners, we have every third Tuesday of the month a European networking event webinar. So that was it for today, guys. If you have any questions, concerns, shoot them in the chat function, or make sure you reach out to Isolde or a link with us guys through LinkedIn. For now, I wish you an excellent lunch. And thank you for your participation. And
thank you.
See you with
hopefully see you on next one.
Yeah.
Great, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
So again, so first Monday of the month, we have these, it's sort of a journey through ADKAR, so it's not the same, just to make that clear. So next month we'll have a different topic around the ADKAR model. So thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. If you have any questions, feel free in a moment, just unmute yourself. I think Peter and Erik can stick around for a moment. But otherwise, these are really short sessions. We do have other sort of forums or places where we can we take more time to share success stories and best practices. But for today, I'm just going to keep it really short and hand it back over to Erik and Peter for questions. Again, thank you for showing up, guys. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself. Don't be shy. Okay, I have one question in the chat. That is, okay, it's not quite clear, but it's basically what happens if the frequency of changes is high? Sandeep, would you like to come forward and explain that question, please?
Well, I think it's a clear question. I think we can comment on it. I think even if you have a high frequency of changes, then it's all the more necessary to actually drive change and be successful. If you get stuck in one change, you're most likely not to be able to implement the second or the following, the third or the fourth change. So I think it's very sensible to actually drive change and also high frequency using ADKAR. But you might think about amalgamating some of the little changes into one larger program, that you actually say, okay, the first quarter, we're changing this. This is why we're changing the first quarter, and then actually the personal impact. Still use the ADKAR model, but maybe more on an aggregate level. Yeah.
It's also really good because, you know, we doing change management, you actually notice that some of the people might be change saturated, because if you're just doing projects after the projects, you don't really think about what will be the influence on the people. But if you're doing change management, you will notice that there are some people who are involved in that many changes, you know, and then you might want to prioritize a bit, or at least you can prepare from heavier resistance and plan against the resistance, you know.
Yeah, you need to sell the overall vision, that Helen said. Yeah, and I think that's right. That's a compelling why message, right? The overall vision, why are we changing? What are the business reasons for change? How to practically implement ADKAR model and all the tools. Yeah, I mean, that's also a topic we're going to cover in the 3-day practitioner program. Of course, it's a little bit a long answer to answer it now, but I think the perfect simplicity of the ADKAR model is there's no threshold in using this. I mean, it's easy, it's straightforward. You can start using the ADKAR model, so there's no reason not to use it, right? Even you guys, while you're not a practitioner, you can already start and applying this, right? The best way to keep yourself informed about upcoming webinars, shoot an email to Isolde, and she will make sure that you will get on the mailing list. You will, but every first Monday of the month, I think the series will cover 6 topics. So we have this short luncheon sessions, like 30 minutes, very condensed. You know, we pick one topic. It's not a practitioner program, of course. So we pick one small topic about change management, and let's see where it goes. And maybe we're going to continue and maybe elaborate a little bit more the series, but for now, this is it. Yeah. I think we can take one more final question. So who can't sleep any longer if this question is not being answered?
I'll jump in then, because I've been quiet for a while for once. Isolde has heard me talk many times. So for someone like me who's a new person to change, 1 year, what advice would you give? I'm not quite ready to go to the pro side because I've just invested in APMG at the moment, and I'm looking to do that next. But what in the meantime can I do to prepare myself, to use ProSci or, any resources? I've looked at the ProSci website, which is fantastic, but maybe, some blog somewhere or anywhere else where I can kind of keep on taking what you've, given us the appetite for today and just build on that.
Yeah, well, we organize on a regular basis these type of webinars. Also, ProSci has a lot of webinars, a lot of videos out there about the ADKAR model. So on the ProSci.com website, you will find a lot of information. But basically, I would say you're always prepared to follow the practitioner program. So there's no threshold in this program. You don't need to be like 5 years plus or a change manager or whatever. I mean, we typically walk you through the whole methodology step by step. We demonstrate the tools. You're going to apply the tools on a project or initiative that you currently are running or are going to be running, or where you've been a victim of. Yeah, that's also possible, right? So I think it's a pretty straightforward, a very condensed program. So I wouldn't wait too long. I mean, yeah, why?
Yeah, if you're doing this, it's the best learning path, and you will probably receive the most of experience and knowledge, because just reading, it's nice, but it's hard to implement later.
I think from your side, Helen, this sounds like a lack of awareness. You're asking why now? And that's, apply the ADKAR model to yourself. So think of like, why should I enter this program? Why now? What will I get out of this desire, right? How will it increase my knowledge at ADKAR, right? Yeah. Am I able to apply the ADKAR model? I think you are. Ability, and then it's all about reinforcement. Yeah. Right.
In my case, it's not a lack of desire. It's more of a lack of job at the moment. So I'm waiting for my next role.
Yeah. But actually, we had 2 unemployed change managers recently in the program last week, and they said we're going to increase our chances on the labor market because you get an internationally acknowledged certificate, right? And I'm not saying this from a commercial perspective, but actually there's an increasing demand from larger organizations. If you want to work as a change manager, first question is, are you process certified?
Yeah, for sure. I've seen that.
My team member from Vancouver, Shelly Xu, she actually logged on as well. And Shelly and I have been working together in Vancouver. And the first question people asked me in Vancouver, are you process certified? And I said, oh, no, I'm from Europe. We don't do certificate. But then they say, well, that's fine with us, but no job then, no assignment. Okay, guys, great talking to you. I wish you a great lunch if you haven't lunched already, and maybe see you guys at the next webinar. Shelly, it was great. Well, I didn't see you, but at least we talked to each other a little bit and chatted. See you the next time.
See you.
Join the CCB.network, guys. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Isolde. Have a great day.
Take care, everyone.
You too, bye.
And lots of
thanks
success in finding a good job, Helen.